Hello, you're watching World Talks. My name is Sascha Fahrbach. On Monday, Poland outlined plans to develop a large-scale drone armada in cooperation with Ukraine, drawing on Kiev's battlefield experience as part of broader efforts to modernize its armed forces. Now, the announcement came as Iran's foreign minister met with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow on Monday, as tensions in the Middle East continue. We'll now discuss all the latest with our guest, Tetiana Shevchuk, head of international relations, Ukrainian Anti-Corruption Action Center. Good to have you with us on TVP World. Welcome back.
Good morning.
Tetiana, so this is quite an announcement. I just want to put this more in perspective for our viewers and you. Let's just run a short clip by the Prime Minister Donald Tusk from Monday, what he had to say about this drone armada.
It is no coincidence that this meeting is accompanied by a major expo featuring exhibitors from over a dozen different countries showcasing the potential of drones. Ukraine is already leading the way in this field. It is no coincidence that in this clash of major powers, a confrontation that is effectively taking place in the Middle East, Ukraine has proven to be the most attractive partner for countries seeking to defend their airspace thanks to this specific know-how. It is with great pleasure that I can announce today that Poland's plan to build a drone fleet will involve support in terms of technical expertise and drone capabilities from our Ukrainian friends.
So there he said Ukraine leading the way. Tetiana, how significant is this kind of announcement, what we know right now? What does this do for Ukraine's profile in terms of defense and drones?
First of all, this is a great news because Poland is the first EU country and the NATO country that admitted that the warfare has changed, that drone is the future of the warfare, and they see a strong partner in Ukraine to rebuild forces and to join the efforts to develop such forces. Ukraine has experience. Ukraine has potential in the industry, but we need a strong rear, the safety backyard where we can develop all these technologies and build those drones. And we need investments, and it's great that the Poland is ready to be a partner in this.
Mm-hmm. And we've seen also President Zelensky travel in the Middle East. We know that he's offered this kind of also his own expertise from his country. What about the idea then that if he's offering, if Ukraine is offering this kind of expertise, is this going to be enough that they have resources for themselves? Is this stretching expertise too wide, or is there enough capacity for Ukraine to help others as well?
I believe there is enough capacity to help because we are not sending our armed forces in any other countries in the big amounts. It's more about technology sharing and knowledge sharing. So there is no such stretching the capacity. I think it could be done with all the countries who could be our allies and can join the forces with us.
Mm-hmm. And also one major thing that has been also devastating Ukraine has been these Shahed drones. They're originally manufactured in Iran, then that was licensed out to Russia, producing similar ones as well. Just let's change gears for a moment to Moscow. We've had there the Iranian foreign minister meeting Putin. Putin encouraged the Iranians there, the regime. What do you make of that visit, and what is the danger there that there'll be more cooperation, strategic cooperation between Iran and Russia?
It was well known that Russia is helping Iran from the very first moments of this conflict started. There was no information about the intelligence sharing, etc. Now it's a more symbolic view when there are those negotiations or the ceasefire or peace deal negotiations between US and Iran, and now it's a symbolic gesture that Russia is supporting Iran and protecting their back. And of course, they will be sharing the information about the drone warfare they have with Iran. In this conflict, we've only seen the use of this long-range Shaheds. Probably Russia will also share information about better tactics and so on. But we still haven't seen the wide usage of FPV drones and the similar technologies. Probably this will also be more used by Iran if there are some development in the conflicts or some sort of ground-based operations.
Mm-hmm. And what about the potential fear here? I mean, Putin went on to say also to Russian media, I'm quoting here, "For our part, we will do everything that serves your interests and the interests of all the people of the region so that peace can be achieved." But at the same time, I mean, it's cryptic there. But what is the danger here in your mind that the Russians could then transfer potentially some of their know-how now, that maybe there's going to be new production facilities, that will ultimately then hit Ukraine? Do you have any fear of that happening?
Our fear is that with Russian backing, this conflict and the Hormuz trade with Iran, it will be never ending, because when Putin says peace, he means war. So they are not interested in peace. They are interested in the continuation of the war in the Middle East. They are interested in the continuous blockage of Hormuz Strait, because this means the lifting of sanctions. We've seen that U.S. lifted sanctions from Russian shipments of oil for another month. So for Russia, continuation of this conflict means that they first of all continue the shipment of the oil and continue the sale of this oil for very inflated prices. Probably they will ask for continuous lifting of the sanctions also from the EU side. They could also ask Ukrainian allies to make Ukraine to stop attacking Russian oil facilities to protect the world oil market. This is like this economy perspective, but this also about weakening U.S. stance in the world, weakening the EU, and so Russia is interested in this kind of conflict to last longer.
Mm-hmm. And you said there as well, I mean, with the Americans also very much distracted in the Middle East, also, as you said, extending some of those waivers for the Russians. Where does that put Ukraine in all this? Do you have in your mind that there would be any kind of return to the table, negotiations? We're not really hearing much from that.
There is no news about the strong continuation of the negotiations. Ukraine is committed to peace. It was stated that we are ready to negotiate whenever and wherever is possible, but there is no interest from Russian side. So we have to continue the war as it is, not to let any advances. But unfortunately, the one of the theaters of the war was economy theater in a way, and Ukraine was continually saying that in order to win this war, we need to weaken Russia economically so they can have no any resources to continue this war. But unfortunately, with influx of this inflated oil money, they will have resources. It's already stated that Russia has like surplus around $4 billion per month at least, with this new oil prices, and with lack of oil and oil products on the markets, they are invited to negotiate with other countries and block sanctions, etc. So it means that the war will go on, and for Ukraine it means that we will not see any ceasefire at least this year.
Right, but then at the same time, we do have a bit of good news on the 90 billion, that loan coming from the EU, that's going to help Ukraine continue all of this fight. Look, thanks for all that. And the latest, Tetiana Shevchuk there, Head of International Relations, Ukrainian Anti-Corruption Action Center. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. That concludes World Talks, but stay right here on TVP World for more news and commentary. Goodbye.